Welcome back to the Moonchild Podcast. I am your host, Elijah KB, and today I have a question for you. My question to you today is, I have two questions actually. The first question is, what are your limits? Obviously, you don't have to tell me. It's a question for yourself. What are your limits? My second question is, where did you get your limits from? Why are those your limits? Who or what did you believe in order for those to become your limits? And what I mean by that is your limits are strictly based on what you believe is possible for yourself. What you believe is possible for you to experience, what you believe, is possible as far as your capabilities. This is all based on what you believe, what you allow yourself to believe. So a lot of us think, based on the programming that we're all subjugated to here in the 3D reality, we were made to believe that we have to see it in order to believe it. Now, of course, they have given us things here in the 3D reality to experience, and they've given our parents have went through things and things like that. We get to actually witness things, and seemingly it proves that what you're only believing this because you see it, and that's how reality is supposed to be, right? You see that, you believe it, and you don't believe anything else until you actually see it. But in reality, in the real reality, the reverse is true, right? It starts off first of all, by the time it gets to the physical, it's already passed through everything else that makes the physical possible, right? So, the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, right? Not in any particular order. I'm not saying that's the order, but it passed through those things before it gets to the physical. All right. So by the time it gets to the physical, it's already believed to be so. You understand? It's already believed. And then the physical expression has to manifest. This is why I talk about all the time when I'm, explaining here on the podcast how to manifest for yourself. Right? You have to believe it. You have to be in the emotion of it already coming to pass or has come to pass. What part of, what would that version of you feel like? What would it do? What would it think about? What would it not think about? What would it be grateful for at that point in time? Because it has the experience that you're currently manifesting, right? So, it's the same thing, right? It's within the same arena. Okay, so what are your limits? Why are your limits there? What belief system have you adopted from your parents, or people you grew up around, or things that you were influenced by early on, things that you've witnessed? What have you to this day held on to as your own personal limitations, right? I know we give a lot of power over to these things that we've witnessed, or the research, or what somebody that we respect has said, we'll hold on dearly to that as the truth. And if of course, by us believing that, we actually get to experience those things. So now we have actual data to go back and be like, well, see, not only did they say it, but I experienced it. It's like, no, you experienced it because you believe that, right? And they experienced it because they believe that. But then you got a whole another part of society that has experienced something different. The only difference is not where they live. It's not, who they're around, necessarily. Well, it is in a sense, but the main difference is their belief is different. It's different than yours. Right now, we have things around us to help feed these type of beliefs that we tend to have. People, places, and things um, that are cohesive with, a certain type of belief system, or a certain um, range of you know vibration, or whatnot, right? A certain um like just a certain space where you know you got the highest and you got the lowest within that range, right? And whatever the highest is for that space is everybody's limitation, right? Everything else outside of that, they can't comprehend for themselves or people around them, people who are in their immediate circle. This is why I also tell people that when you're trying to grow, you have to leave. You have to leave home. You have to leave the familiar environment, because these people around you are going to constantly reinforce, um, not even purposely, but constantly reinforce your old belief systems, your old limitations. In fact, if they find out that you're doing something new and you're trying to evolve, they'll shit all over it, right? But they feel like they're supposed to, because in their mind they think they're being realistic. This is what they've accepted. This is what they've accepted as their reality, real reality. They think they're being, you know, um, very practical, uh, very in touch with what's really going on, right? Um, So this is what they put out for themselves, believe in them, for themselves. So of course, if they associate you with them, which is a common mistake, because you guys have been side by side for a long time, like you've been in their reality for a long time, or you're the type. You used to be the type until you started to evolve. You were the type to be around that same type of, y'all might have been to the same school, went to the same school, went, same friend group and shit like that. So they obviously, if they can't see it for themselves, they definitely can't see it for you. Some of these people will even try and tell you certain things to, in all, like in their heart of hearts, they're trying to help you, stop you from taking too much of a chance and falling hard and having to go through any suffering. So they believe that they're helping you, but in actuality, they're just holding you back from a new reality that you're breaking into. But you can't break into it properly if you're constantly around the same old shit, because the old you, your old belief systems, in the beginning of you uh embarking on a new part of your journey, and developing a new belief system for yourself, higher heights. In the beginning of this process, right? um the old you is way stronger, way stronger than the new you, because the new you hasn't even gotten a chance to develop yet. So what you want to do is you want to keep a lot of these things to yourself. If you can't immediately leave your space where you're at, due to whatever the situation is, that's fine. Just keep a lot of this shit to yourself. You don't want to let these people in on what you have going for yourself. Keep it to yourself. Don't let that energy in, because then it's going to start to, manipulate. What the fuck? It's going to start to manipulate your own energy, and you will start to go back to your old belief systems, your old ways of thinking, because that's the stronger part of you anyway. You're already having a tough time transitioning. So to be constantly around people and hearing from people who are still on that vibration and who are probably going to stay on that vibration, right? They're pretty much reinforcing the parts of yourself that you are evolving from. So they, in a sense, are pulling you backwards, right? So you want to keep these things to yourself, whatever it is. Your new belief in what you feel like you deserve in love, or, money wise, or life in general, having peace, having boundaries, self-love, whatever it is, just, if you're not able to leave immediately, make sure you isolate yourself, every day, and exercise these new belief systems. You know what I mean? Like, start to, when you get excited about new ideas and things like that, keep it to yourself. You're going to go through a period of time where you don't have anybody to talk to like that, because you're currently outgrowing the people who are immediately around you. Okay. But if you are in the position to leave, please do. Please leave those people, in order to leave them behind, in order for you to continue your growth. Okay. Because it's already going to be a bit of a challenge, and you can do it, definitely, but you don't want to have those old reminders around to reinforce the old beliefs that you're trying to get away from, so you can increase, and go higher up, and have a different level of belief in yourself, and not have such limiting beliefs. There's so much more for you to experience. It's the world is big. It's so much for you to be able to experience, witness, firsthand. You're worthy of a lot more. The irony in all of this is the fact that you're limitless. But that can take some time to get to. So just work on, moving forward within what you believe is possible for you. And that'll do for now. But in all honesty, you don't have any limits, really. We're just trying to expand at this point. So, the only reason that you even, are where you're at is because of what you believe. And a lot of us, we have the habit of looking on the outside of ourselves and being like, well, shit, this is what I got. This is the life that I've seen. This is what I've experienced. So it would make no sense to leave all that behind, because that's data. That makes sense. This and that, right? Like, but in reality, that is literally why you're stuck. That's literally why you're stuck. The irony in that, of you thinking you're being smart and you're being safe, or and you're just facing what it is, and you're not living in imaginary land, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes you feel better about being stuck, um or feel you know um justified, right, in holding on to these belief systems, is literally the reason why you will never witness anything more for yourself. If you talk to a person who came up and this goes back to environment too, right? But think about the belief system in the example that I'm about to give. If you talk to a person who came from money, right? Money was easy to come by for them, whether their parents were really rich or whatever. The type of relationship they're going to have with money is very different from the person coming from a poverty-stricken area, right? When you ask this person about money, um, they ain't got no problem with money. It's like, shit, money is not an issue. I'm not thinking about money all day and how to get more of it. And I'm not thinking like that. Like, I mean, I know certain techniques and things like that. That's on autopilot. Like, I've been bred for that. Like, I've been taught that already. I don't sit around thinking about money. I sit around thinking about, maybe what other type of experiences do I want to experience? You know, um, how can I strengthen the bond with a certain parent, or, just shit that has nothing to do with money. Like, they don't, the last thing they're thinking about is fucking money. Like, that's never been a part of their reality that's never been a problem for them, right? Everybody has a different list of issues, so that's just a side note for anybody who's thinking money is going to save you from everything. It's going to solve everything. It's like, no, you just get another list of issues. Like, everybody has, issues on every level, an amount, or, um, everything brings something, right? So, so, but if you ask the the guy who came from the poverty stricken areas, right? And he had a harder time coming by money. He's gonna tell you the exact opposite. You got to work really hard. You got to hustle. You can't sleep. You can't, day and night. Um, you gotta figure out different ways to get it, and it's hard to come by. I mean, you gotta, if you're getting a lot of money, that's a big deal, and that's gonna solve everything, and that's gonna, you know. So now the unique thing about both of these situations is, if you if you were to ask them for proof, they have it. Both of them have proof about what they're talking about being true. Person who came from money, they got a lot of proof on why money is not a big deal, and there's other things to worry about. Money doesn't consume them like that, like the issue of money. And on the other side, he has a lot of proof on why you know it's hard to come by, and it's a struggle, right? So really, the core, the difference is the core belief, or the relationship with money. like the belief system that you have there. That there's your limitations. There's, there's what you get, just based on what you believe. All right. So again, I ask you in closing, this is all the time I got for the night, but what are your limits? Are you satisfied? Or do you want to experience more? Do your shadow work, get to those core beliefs, you know, feel and release, heal and release. You understand? And by default, by law, by universal law, you have to experience different. You have to experience more once you open yourself up for more. All right, let's get out of survival and let's get into abundance. But yeah, again, that's all the time I got. For those interested in spiritual advice, I now have a page where you can sign up for a one-on-one hour session with myself. The link will be in the description. And for any questions and topics for the podcast, feel free to email them to me.